You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming.
Okay.
All streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
Welcome to LCM TV News. We are not your normal news. B.B. King, the legendary blues singer, songwriter, and guitarist, died Thursday in Las Vegas, his attorney said. King was 89 years old. Attorney Brent Bryson told the Associated Press that King died peacefully in his sleep at 9:40 p.m. local time at his home. The one-time farmhand brought new fans to the blues and influenced a generation of musicians with his heartfelt vocals and soaring guitar on songs such as The Thrill Is Gone. King sold millions of records worldwide and was inducted into the Blues Foundation Hall of Fame and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. King played a Gibson guitar that he affectionately called Lucille, and was not only the undisputed king of the blues, but a mentor to scores of guitarists, including Eric Clapton. He was awarded his 15th Grammy in 2009 in the traditional blues album category for a one-kind favor. King had type 2 diabetes. Rescue workers pulled an eighth body from the wreckage of an Amtrak rail car, a father of two, who said had made flyers to try and find the missing man. The revelation that the train was going much too fast, it topped out at 106, when it hurled off the tracks north of Philadelphia, has turned the attention of investigators to the 32-year-old engineer who was driving the train and why he had reacted too late to slow it down as he went into a curve. The engineer, Brandon Bastian, had absolutely no recollection of the incident or anything unusual. The next thing he recalls is being thrown around, coming to, finding his cell phone, and dialing 911. The National Transportation Safety Board is studying the data from the train's black box recorder for clues to what happened. But as questions mount about his role in the crash Tuesday night that killed 8 people and injured more than 200, Mr. Bastian himself may not be of much help in answering them. Officials said during a news conference that the eighth body was found by a cadaver-sniffing dog Thursday morning in the first car, which remained at the crash site. Toyota Corp and Nissan Motor Company expanded their recalls over problem airbags made by Japanese supplier Takata Corp by another 6.5 million vehicles. Toyota said Wednesday it was recalling nearly 5 million more vehicles globally for the airbag inflator problem. Some 637,000 of vehicles in the United States In Japan, it was recalling nearly 1.4 million vehicles. The recall affects 35 models globally, including the Corolla Subcompact, the RAV4 Sport utility vehicle, and Tundra pickup, produced from March 2003 through November 2007. In the latest recall, front passenger and front driver side airbag inflators can deploy abnormally or rupture and put a person in a crash at greater risk. This is different from an earlier problem with the Takata airbag inflators that deployed with too much force, which has affected a range of automakers including Honda Ford Company, Chrysler, BMW, and Ford Motor Company. At least 6 people have died worldwide due to that defect. When combined with the earlier recalls, Toyota's Takata-related recalls have ballooned to 8.1 million vehicles. Toyota-based Honda, which has recalled the most vehicles because of Takata airbag problems, said it was studying the new problem and hasn't made a decision yet about expanding its recalls. Nissan recalled an additional 1.56 million vehicles globally for the new Takata problem, with 326,000 of them in North America. Nissan's Takata-related recalls have now grown to about 4 million around the world. Congress on Thursday sent President Obama a bill to give lawmakers the power to review and potentially reject a nuclear deal with Iran. The House overwhelmingly passed the measure 400 to 25 to have a say in what could get Iran to curb its nuclear program in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. Getting a deal would enhance Obama's foreign policy record, and while the GOP-led Congress doesn't want to see a nuclear-armed Iran, they are skeptical about Iranian compliance and have demanded time to review the fine points of any agreement. Sources state that Obama would sign the bill into law. The Iran nuclear legislation would bar Obama from waiving congressional sanctions for at least 30 days while lawmakers examined any final deal. The bill would stipulate that if senators disapproved of the deal, Obama would lose his current power to waive certain economic penalties Congress had imposed on Iran. Even if Congress rejects his final nuclear deal with Tehran, however, Obama could still use executive pen to offer a hefty portion of sanctions relief on his own. He could take unilateral actions that, when coupled with European and UN sanctions relief, would allow a deal to be implemented. The Vatican announced Wednesday that it would soon sign a treaty that includes recognition of the State of Palestine, lending significant symbolic weight to an intensifying Palestinian push for international support for sovereignty that bypasses the paralyzed negotiation with Israel. Palestinian leaders celebrated the Holy See's endorsement as particularly important, given the international stature of Pope Francis. For Israelis, it was an emotional blow, since Francis had deep relationships with Jews dating back decades, and Christians are critical backers of the enterprise. Pope Francis, the leader of the world's 1 billion Catholics, has long signaled his wish for a Palestine state. For the past year, the Vatican has informally referred to the country as State of Palestine in its yearbook, as well as in its program for Francis' 2014 visit to the Holy Land. The Justice Department is preparing to announce that Barclays, J.P. Morgan Chase, Citigroup, and the Royal Bank of Scotland will collectively pay several $billions and plead guilty to criminal antitrust violations for rigging the price of foreign currencies, according to people briefed on the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity. But most, if not all, of the pleas are expected to come from the bank's holding companies, a first for Wall Street giants that until now have only had subsidiaries or their biggest banking units plead guilty. The Justice Department is also preparing to resolve accusations of foreign currency misconduct at UBS. As part of that deal, prosecutors are tearing up a 2012 non-prosecution agreement with the bank over the manipulation of benchmark interest rates, citing the bank's foreign currency misconduct as a violation of the earlier agreement. The world's biggest banks pled guilty to an array of antitrust and fraud charges as soon as next week, but it's very unlikely that any of the individuals involved, including officers and directors, will face any prison time or loss of jobs. Coming up next is the regional news, folks. We'll be right back.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals. Providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services, they feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
Welcome back. Overall, the California budget revisions reflected a $6.7 billion increase in the general fund revenues compared to the January budget. The Constitution, reflecting the voters' priorities, directs the use of these revenues as follows. Number one, increases general fund spending by $5.5 billion for K through 12 schools and community colleges. Two, requires an additional $633 million be saved in the rainy day fund, and an additional $633 million be used to pay down debts and liabilities. The May revision commits new spending in only 3 additional areas: creating the first ever California Earned Income Tax Credit to assist the state's lowest income workers. The credit will provide $380 million in benefits to 2 million Californians. This credit, combined with increased funding for education and health care reform, together with increased minimum wage, will provide increased state support for California's poorest residents. Secondly, holding tuition flat at the state universities for California undergraduate students for 2 more years, providing increased ongoing funding to California State University and temporary assistance to the University of California to pay down its unfunded pension liability. Third, providing health care and other safety net services to currently undocumented immigrants who gain permanent residence under color of law status under the President's executive actions. The May revision continues to focus on the key elements of the January budget, carrying out local control funding formula, federal health care reform, public safety realignment, the Water Action Plan, and the Cap and Trade Expenditure Plan. Assemblymember Bill Dodd issued the following statement yesterday in Governor Brown's revision of the budget. The increased revenue projections outlined in the governor's revised budget show that California is heading in the right direction. As our economy continues to improve after the recent recession, we must ensure that we are securing a better California. That means providing a balanced, sustainable budget while investing in our future. I am glad to see increased funding for education in the governor's revised budget, since investment in our public schools and universities is absolutely critical for the future of California. I will continue to work to push for investments in our state's education system and needed services while paying down our debts and addressing our neglected infrastructure. Larry Mansell, host of Air Talk on KPCC, had 2 high-profile guests on his show this week. NASA's Jay Famiglietti, that's a good one, folks, sorry about that, Famiglietti, who has been making the media rounds to sound the alarm on California's increasingly desperate water shortage, and Nestle Waters' North American CEO, Tim Brown. The topic was the business of bottled water in California, where Nestle pumps tens of millions of gallons of water, which is bottled and sold nationwide. It's difficult to say exactly how much water they use, besides cities like Sacramento, where tap water is sold to be packaged as bottled water. Don't even keep track of how much is being shipped away for bottling. When asked whether Nestle would follow the lead of Starbucks and move their bottled water operations out of California, Nestle Waters' North American CEO Tim Brown gave a surprising response. Absolutely not. In fact, if I could increase it, I would. He went further. If I stopped bottling water tomorrow, said Brown, people would buy another brand of bottled water. As the second largest bottler in the state, we're filling a role many others aren't filling. It's driven by consumer demand. It's driven by an on-the-go society that needs to hydrate. Frankly, we're very happy consumers are doing it in a healthier way. Brown did discuss some of the new water-saving methods of production Nestle would be using at other plants. Work is underway to transform the Nestle USA milk factory in the city of Modesto into a zero-water factory, meaning the plant will not use any local freshwater resources for its operations. The project could save nearly 63 million gallons, or 238,000 cubic meters, of water each year, equivalent to 71% of absolute withdrawals in 2014. A smart move, but not enough, says Jay Famiglietti, who teaches Earth System Science at UC Irvine, in addition to being NASA JPL's top water scientist, says Nestle has a strong reputation when it comes to environmental stewardship. But he says bottling water still takes 30 to 50% more water than turning on the tap, and he's concerned companies like Nestle might be using and bottling thousands of acre-feet of water in California. Famiglietti warns that while it may not seem like much, it's more than a drop in the bucket. Is this really an environmentally, ethically correct thing to be doing right now? With no insight for the historic drought in California, residents need to be asking tough questions about the value of shipping such a precious commodity out of state for the enormous profit of worldwide corporations. The founder of GoPro, Nick Woodman, took a $229 million hit to his fortune this week to fulfill a promise made to his college roommate when the company was in the developmental phase. Mr. Woodman, 39, promised to give Neil Dana, his roommate at the University of California, San Diego, and the first GoPro employee, 10% of any proceeds he received from the sale of the company's shares, according to the company's 2014 prospectus. To cancel this agreement, GoPro issued Mr. Dana more than 6 million fully vested options in June 2011 and 270,000 restricted stock units 6 months later. Mr. Woodman agreed to reimburse the company when the options were exercised. Mr. Dana, who is GoPro's Director of Music and Specialty Sales, spent $3.6 million to exercise his options, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. They were valued at $229 million at the close of trading on Monday. Mr. Woodman's net worth will fall to a mere $2.3 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. Coming up next is our local news. We'll be right back.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In local news, the Zero Tolerance Ordinance was rescinded and is no longer in effect. The growing of medical cannabis in Clear Lake has now reverted back to the previous ordinance, which allows from 6 to 48 plants, depending on the size of your property. This ordinance will be in effect as it is written until changes are made by staff, which will be presented to the Council on May 29th. The Council has agreed to form an ad hoc committee, and anyone can apply to join the committee. Just call the City of Clear Lake to get on that committee. The committee will put an ordinance together that both sides can agree to be implemented when there is a consensus from the community and council. There were 1,290 signatures turned into the city on March 26. Of that, 1,271 were turned into the county after some were eliminated by the city clerk, Melissa Swanson, at the time they were turned in. Of the 1,271 signatures presented, 635 were verified. giving the petition 5 more signatures than needed to place a referendum to rescind the ordinance on the ballot. Most of the signatures rejected were due to addresses that did not match or people who were not registered who signed. Proponents commented that this emphasizes the importance of why your vote counts. They asked us to remind people to make sure your voter information is updated with your current street address and that you are actually registered. Many of the people who registered during the campaign actually did not register correctly, or the registration card did not arrive at the county in time. The council instructed staff to copy and paste the enforcement quotation of the zero tolerance quotient of the zero tolerance ordinance into the current ordinance. This charges violators $1,000 per plant and $100 per day after a 10-day notice to abate is issued. Cut the amount of plants allowed to 6 plants, no matter what size parcel, and possibly limit plant height to 5 feet. Staff will return to the council on May 29th with the changes for final vote by the council. Detectives from Lake County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit on Wednesday assisted detectives from the Sparks Police Department of Sparks, Nevada, with locating and arresting a murder suspect wanted in that state. Detectives located Jared Wagner in Kelseyville at his parents' home. Wagner was arrested without incident on a warrant related to a homicide that occurred on January 22nd in Sparks. Wagner is charged in Nevada with murder with the use of a deadly weapon, battery with the use of a deadly weapon resulting in substantial bodily harm, burglary, and attempted robbery with the use of a deadly weapon. Wagner will be held in the Lake County Jail on a no-bail warrant until he can be extradited back to Nevada. Anyone with information on this case is asked to contact the Lake County Sheriff's Office detectives at 707-262-4200 or the Sparks Police Department Detective Division at 775-353-2225. The Board of Supervisors will discuss a potential land records audit next week. After hearing from several residents about suspected foreclosure fraud during public comment for more than 6 months, Board Chairman Anthony Farrington requested to place the topic on the agenda. We know the issue. The real desire is to have an open, transparent discussion, Farrington explained. My goal is to see if it is a priority because we have so many demands. Farrington said he had requested that Lake County Assessor Recorder Richard Ford, as well as Lake County District Attorney Don Anderson, be present at the meeting to provide input on what can be done on a county level. If the board decides to move forward with an audit, one concern is the cost. Larry Anderson of Kelseyville addressed this during public comment at nearly every recent meeting regarding attempts of foreclosure on his home, as well as elder abuse as a result of those attempts. Anderson says he has filed multiple elder abuse cases with the Lake County District Attorney's Office. This won't be the first time the board has discussed fraudulent foreclosures. In August of last year, the impact of the Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems, known as MERS, on county records was a topic of heated discussion, particularly during public comment. Unlike many other states, recording title assignments is not mandatory in California. Lake County Mobile Homeowners Association is seeking a rent stabilization act similar to San Rafael Initiative. The association organized a People's Forum May 13th at Sterling Shores Estates. Along with singing, food, discussion, and a raffle, District 4 County Supervisor Anthony Farrington and District 3 County Supervisor Jim Steele addressed the group. The association was seeking new members whose dues they plan to use to help pay for the costs of the lawyer that will help them draft the ordinance for Lake County. Last year, the group brought a different rent control initiative to the county, but the court ruled against putting it on the ballot. Steele agreed that an ordinance needs to find the balance between protecting the public or the parks and the private mobile home owners. There have to be rules that buffer those two. Farrington told the group they did not need to hire a lawyer, that he would work with them to draft an ordinance. Farrington has brought rent control to the Board of Supervisors multiple times over the last decade, but an initiative never went through at a board or a county level. The group can use the rent control ordinance Farrington has already drafted, or they can go ahead with their plan to use the San Rafael Initiative. Federal approval of a drought-related request to reduce flows from Lake Pillsbury could come Friday or early next week, relieving concerns shared by PG&E, North Bay water managers, and ranchers in Potter Valley. If the remote reservoir on the Eel River in Lake County falls too low this summer, it could trigger a dramatic cutback in water to Potter Valley, with repercussions down the Russian River from Ukiah to Healdsburg, and potentially into the rest of Sonoma County and Marin County. PG&E, which operates a small powerhouse in Potter Valley, filed an urgent request Wednesday with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission seeking permission to curtail releases from Lake Pillsbury, which already has dropped to 52% of capacity. If approved, PG&E's request would allow a minimum release from Lake Pillsbury of 40 cubic feet per second, with an anticipated actual flow of 70 to 90 cubic feet per second, said Michelle Lind, a PG&E hydro scheduler. Flows down the east fork of the Russian River would be cut from 75 to 25 cubic feet per second. If Lake Pillsbury, which currently holds about 38,800 acre-feet of water, drops below targeted levels for every month from July through November, more drastic flow reductions would be triggered. Flows on the east fork of the Russian River could go as low as 5 cubic feet per second, meaning Lake Mendocino would probably get no Eel River water. After a brief period of closed doors, Lake Co-op restarted operations in February of this year. Customers of the online food ordering and delivery service were pleased. Our customers have shared the relief. They really become aware of how fortunate they were to have the fresh, organic, and local produced and other products that the co-op provided when they had to go without for a period of time, noted board president and co-op farmer Jim Leonardis. Lake Co-op closed in August of 2014 with the sudden departure of key personnel. They have since reorganized their offerings, moved operations, and garnered a new management team, Val and Veronica Rasmussen. We just couldn't stand by and see this well-loved community-based organization with such an important role in our community die, remarked Val Rasmussen. Veronica and I knew we had to step up, and fortunately we're at a time in our lives when we can devote a lot of our time to community. Lake Co-op is the only cooperatively owned online ordering and distribution system in California and was founded in 2008 by a group of local citizens wanting to help shift the food system paradigm in Lake County. Technology awareness of what was happening in the larger food system and community involvement really created the conditions for our success at this time, noted Joanne Siccato, a founding member of the co-op and current consultant to the board. California Highway Patrol explorers from the CHP Clear Lake Area Explorer Post 151 competed in the State Capitol Explorer Challenge on May 2nd at the CHP Academy in West Sacramento. Explorer Post 151 was one of the 50 teams that competed. Teams were comprised of 26 different posts representing the California Highway Patrol from throughout the state and 24 different posts representing allied police agencies from El Centro to Eureka. Teams competed in 15 different scenarios from domestic violence to mental illness and from active shooter to DUI. Teams also had to perform building searches, complete an obstacle course, and take a written test. Explorer Post 151 won first place in the intoxicated subject in public scenario, second place in the obstacle course, and fourth place in the officer needs assistance scenario. The mission of the CHP Explorer program is to develop young individuals into responsible and productive citizens through discipline and a commitment to serve their community. The motto of the Explorer program is learning to serve the public with dedication and commitment. The minimum requirements to become an explorer are you must be between 15 and 21 years of age, have an interest in law enforcement, have at least a 2.0 GPA, no drug or alcohol use, have good citizenship, and have no felony convictions. The CHP's explorers are young people who learn the value of community service throughout an organization that leads with integrity, dedication, and professionalism. It's a program that teaches teens discipline and aids in preparing them for law enforcement careers in life. This said Clear Lake Area Commander Lieutenant Hector Paredes. If you know anyone who would like to become a CHP explorer, please contact Officer Corey Reynolds at 707-279-0103. Assemblyman Bill Dodd will host his first annual Lake County Barbecue at Chasewater Winery and Olive Mill on Saturday, May 23rd. Join him for this fun community event. Enjoy great barbecue from Lakeport Market, local wines, live music, and a chance to connect over issues in your area. It starts at 5:30 p.m. They will be honoring Lake County resident and Assembly District 4's Women of the Year, Denise Rushing. Email Aaron@BillDodd.com for more information. John and Joanne Van Eck, owners of Coal Creek Equestrian Center in Kelseyville, traveled for nearly 5 months across the south in a horse-drawn gypsy carriage. Painted purple with accents of gold, orange, red, and hand-painted flowers, the gypsy carriage also donned a mural representing Lake County that includes mountains, vineyards, and Clear Lake. And to show how hospitable local residents are, the couple brought along with them 140 bottles of Lake County wines, all of which were gone by the end of the first month. They started on November 1st in California with about 20 to 25 people and ended with lots of horses, about 300 people at the Grand Oaks Resort in Lady Lake, Florida on March 14th. Only the diehards completed the entire journey, but they were joined by other horse lovers throughout their ride, including people from Canada and a documentary film crew. The film will have its big screen premiere at the Calgary International Film Festival. Everyone involved in the trip called it an experience of a lifetime. At the end, they were all presented with a pair of clocks to commemorate their journey. A Mendocino County man was arrested Wednesday on suspicion of growing more than 1,200 marijuana plants in the rural Campeche area and having nearly $500,000 in suspected drug proceeds, Mendocino County Sheriff's Office reported Thursday. Frederick Sunderland, 71, of Campeche, also had an outstanding felony arrest warrant related to a previous marijuana cultivation case, sheriff's officials said. The arrest was made following execution of a search warrant by multiple law enforcement agencies on a property on North Fork Drive, where about 1,200 pot plants were found growing indoors and outdoors. Law enforcement officials linked the operation to Sunderland and went to his Docker Hill Road home as the suspect was driving away. They found 25 plants at the house and recovered a key that Sunderland attempted to throw away, according to authorities. The key fit the door of an old car in which officers found $484,000 in cash. Sunderland was booked into Mendocino County Jail, then released after posting a $50,000 bond. Coming up next is the weather and sports, and we'll be right back. Excuse me, folks, we have one last story coming in now. Bloody Island ceremony will be tonight with a potluck at Robinson Rancheria, located in their gym. At 6 p.m. tomorrow, at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning at Bloody Island Memorial Reclamation Road. So,
the ceremony will be held at 6 a.m. tomorrow
sorry, folks.
at Bloody Island on Reclamation Road.
You are invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, Conscious Sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
Sorry about that, folks. A little technical problem. In weather, Friday will be partly cloudy with a high of 69. Winds will be from the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. In the evening, there will be clear skies and a low of 48. Winds will be shifting to the west-southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. On Saturday, there will be a 10% chance of rain early in the day, but mainly, except for a few afternoon clouds, it will be mainly sunny with a high around 70. Winds coming out of the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. In the evening, it will remain partly cloudy and a low will be near 50. Winds moving to the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, the clouds increase with another 10% chance of rain. It will remain mostly cloudy throughout the day and into the early evening. The high will be 69. Winds still from the south at 5 to 10 miles an hour. In the evening, the chance of rain increases to 20% with cloudy skies early, becoming partly cloudy later at night with a low of 51. Winds shift to the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, there's a 10% chance of rain. It will remain mainly cloudy and a cooler with a high of 69. Winds will be from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. In sports, in softball now, Tian Eden shut down Lower Lakes offense for the second time in as many meetings this season, and the Cloverdale Eagles beat the Trojans 6-1 in North Central League softball action on Tuesday afternoon in Cloverdale, eliminating Lower Lake from the league race. A senior-dominated squad, the Trojans, 9-3 in league play, 17-5 overall, were hoping this would be their year to break through against the two teams, Cloverdale and Clear Lake, that have a stranglehold on the league's top spot for more than a decade. But while the Trojans have been able to manufacture plenty of offense against other league opponents, they scored just 3 total runs in 2 losses to Cloverdale, who is 11-1, and another to Clear Lake, who is 12-1. The team they play on Friday in Lakeport. The Trojans can still play spoiler in regard to Clear Lake, since a win on Friday would most likely knock the Cardinals out of title contention. Cloverdale still has games remaining against Willits, who's 0-11, and Middletown, whose record is 6-7. In baseball, the undefeated Clear Lake Cardinals took care of business on the Mendocino County coast Friday afternoon with an 11-1 victory over Fort Bragg Timberwolves, making that back-to-back undisputed North Central League championships. Clear Lake improved to 12-0 in league play and 22-0 overall as Dylan Williams, 6-0, pitched a complete game 2-hitter, striking out none and walking 3. The Cardinals close out their league and regular season schedule next week with a road game Tuesday in Middletown and a home game Thursday against Kelseyville. The North Coast Section Division 5 playoffs follow. At Middletown, behind Tyler Holt's 5-inning no-hitter, the Middletown Mustangs beat Lower Lake 10-0. This improved the Mustangs' season record to 74 in league and 10-10 overall. The Trojans closed out the season at 2-12 in league play and 4-18 overall. Holt, who went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs, also homered in the win, as did teammate Stephen Amos, who had 1 hit and 4 RBIs. In fact, Holt's 2-run blast in the bottom of the 4th was followed 2 batters later by Amos's mammoth 2-run shot into the football bleachers behind the center field fence. Lower Lake had only 2 base runners, both the result of Holt's walks, and only 1 advance past first base. Middletown is off until Wednesday when it travels to Willits. The Kelseyville Knights were 1 out away from a win in the bottom of the 7th when Willits tied the game on an error. The visiting Wolverines went on to prevail in 8 innings, beating the Knights 4-3. Noel Lindahl went the distance on the mound for the Knights, but was undone by an unearned run in the 7th and 2 more in the 8th. Kelseyville is now 7-6 in league play and 11-12 overall. Slovakia's Peter Sagan surged in the short final uphill sprint Wednesday to win the windy 4th stage of the Tour of California and close in on the overall leader Skujins of Latvia. After finishing second in the first 3 stages, Sagan, the Tinkoff Saxo rider, who has 4 Tour de France stage victories, raced to his 12th career stage victory in the California event. He finished the 107.6-mile leg from Pismo Beach to Avila Beach in 4 hours, 6 minutes, and 56 seconds. Rain is predicted for Stage 5, and current snow in Big Bear Lake may force the relocation of the Stage 6 individual time trial for the men's field and the women's invitational time trial scheduled the same day. For our final word, it was first posted up on Reddit and is now available on YouTube, a video which would have been just another meteor crash mistaken for a UFO in Southern California. Except when the video reaches 17 seconds, something weird happens. The UFO ejects out a white orb-like glowing object, which then shoots out into another direction. The orb could have just been space debris ejected out by the meteor, except it shoots upward into the sky instead of settling down like debris should. Ken Roberts, in his YouTube description of the video, said it couldn't have been a plane because there was no noise, and I never heard a crash after, either. The orb thing flew straight up into the sky and disappeared. Thanks for joining us, folks. LCM TV News can be seen Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon live here at lcm-tv.com and anytime on the 2015 archive page at lakehomemagazine.com. Join us again on Monday at noon. The next live show's broadcast will be Pasha Spaced at 3 p.m. today, and The Bridge with Sister T at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And don't forget to check Lake County Magazine for all your local news and information daily at lakehomemagazine.com. I'm Pete Schiffman, and have a great day.